Welcome to Yemen Today TV. This is the English news with me, Rushan Fuad. Ambassador Ahmed Ali Abdullah Saleh addressed the Yemeni people on the occasion of the 60th anniversary of the 26 September revolution. In the address, he called on all Yemenis to preserve the eternal goals of the revolution and urged the government to come back home and assume their duties from inside Yemen. This report gives more details.
Ambassador Ahmed Ali Abdullah Saleh addressed the Yemenis on the occasion of celebrating the 60th anniversary of the 26 September revolution. According to him, the 26 September revolution is the revolution that moved Yemen from the depth of darkness towards enlightenment, freedom, social justice and development. In the address, Ahmed Ali directed a stern message to the Houthis or Imamate, saying, "Those wishing to turn back the wheel of history under the guise of racist Imamate ruling should reconsider their agendas." The address stressed out the noble goals of the 26 September revolution. He said, "The immortal revolution of the 26 September was not only against tyranny, but a human revolution inspired by the noble spirit of Islam, which came to spread justice and equality and preserve the freedom, public and private rights of people." In the address, Ahmed Ali also urged people to maintain the goals of the immortal 26 September revolution and its great achievement, and warned at the same time against the Iranian threat that tries to dominate Yemen and the whole region through its tools and connections represented in the Houthi militia. Another important issue that the address touched on is calling on the government to perform their duties from inside Yemen, stressing the need to have a national army. In this regard, he says, "I'd like to seize the opportunity to call upon the country's leadership and government officials to return to the homeland and assume their duties toward the citizens and recognize their sufferings and needs. The government must work on building a national army away from other affiliations and preserve independency and sovereignty of the country." In the address also, Ahmed Ali warned that Yemen shall not be the arena for regional forces to settle disputes, while collaboration with neighboring countries and the international community should focus on supporting the security and stability of the country. In the end, the address reiterated that the spark of the 26th of September revolution shall always be remembered by Yemenis for decades and decades to come.
A large celebration was held in Ma'rib Governorate. The event took place in Ma'rib Stadium, which was organized by the Yemeni Artists Forum as the first popular gathering since Ma'rib military confrontations with the terrorist militia.
Today we celebrate along this huge gathering the September Revolution anniversary. The Yemeni Forum for Artists and Writers organized this festival to express the popular celebration alongside the formal one. All Yemenis should celebrate in this Republican Day.
We hope that we could achieve the goals of September's revolution. As for me, they mean life, hope and optimism. They mean that we will overcome all those who want to obliterate the identity of Yemen.
We are gathering in Ma'rib here to celebrate the 60th anniversary of the September Revolution. The revolution was the torch with which the Yemenis enjoyed their freedom and dignity. It salvaged them from the Imamate hateful priesthood.
The UN Special Envoy landed in Sana'a for a second-time visit after having been to Riyadh and Oman. The efforts of the UN diplomat aim to push warring parties to agree on expanding the truce. The following report gives more details.
Hans Grunberg, the UN Special Envoy to Yemen, arrived in Sana'a on Wednesday as part of his attempts to encourage the Houthi militias to extend Yemen's truce in accordance with his suggested plan. The envoy has met with Mahdi al-Mashad, the head of the Houthi Supreme Political Council, to discuss extending the country's truce. According to Grunberg, they discussed a UN proposal to renew the ceasefire between the Yemeni government and the Iran-backed Houthi rebels. Grunberg has already met with Saudi, Yemeni, and Omani officials in Riyadh and Muscat this week as the deadline for restoring the truce approaches. Grunberg said in a statement that he met with Yemen's Presidential Leadership Council President Rashad al-Alimi in Riyadh to discuss ongoing efforts to reinforce and extend the truce. In Muscat, Grunberg met with the Houthis' chief negotiator and spokesman. In his most recent remarks, the Houthi spokesman hinted that the militia would prevent the UN envoy's proposals from being carried out, as the group demands that Sana'a airport be open to commercial traffic and that import restrictions at Hadida port be lifted outside of the channels authorized by the Yemeni government. Observers fear that conflicts will reoccur on a greater scale, especially given the militia's unwillingness to release the siege on Taiz. The Houthis also demand that wages be paid by the government independently of the revenue generated by the militias under its control. According to the Yemeni government, charges on gasoline imports into Hadida port earned the Houthi militants roughly 200 billion Yemeni riyals over the course of the previous 6 months. Furthermore, if they were not given a cut of the profits, its senior commanders reportedly threatened to attack oil infrastructures run by the government and export ports in the Arabian Gulf. Yemeni political sources believe that if the UN envoy is unable to persuade the two parties to include a mechanism for paying employees' salaries, making other destinations available to and from Sana'a airport, and ensuring the flow of increased fuel quantities into Hadida port, he will at least be able to extend the truce on its current terms. According to the UN, at least 15 people, including children, have been murdered or injured in the city in the last week. Since November, more than 100 people have been killed and 141 have been injured. Despite reports of truce violations, the ceasefire has provided respite to Yemenis, who have been subjected to a decade of political uncertainty and military strife.
The U.S. envoy to Yemen, Tim King, stressed the need to bring Yemenis around one table to negotiate the extension of the truce. King said that this step would give a strong basis that reflects the will of all to establish peace. He stressed the United States' endeavor with the help of regional partners to reach a permanent ceasefire. King reiterated his country's condemnation of the Houthi practices, which run in contrary to the efforts made by the international community to reach a political compromise in the country. 44 national and international NGOs have called for a renewal and expansion of truce in Yemen. The organizations warned that with the current truce agreement set to expire on the 2nd of October, the parties in Yemen should be reminded that the future of the people is in their hands. The following report has more details.
With the current truce agreement set to expire on the 2nd of October 2022, humanitarian organizations remind all parties to the conflict that the future of the Yemeni people is in their hands. The organizations working in Yemen and the civilians recognize and applaud the important steps taken by all parties to the conflict, as they continue to work towards keeping the truce. 44 national and international NGOs called for renewal and the expansion of truce in Yemen. They have enabled the longest period of calm for more than 7 years, bringing relief and hope to the people of Yemen, knowing that during the past 6 months, there was a 60% reduction in casualties. With the expiration date getting close, now it's a critical moment for the people of Yemen. Despite that some important gains have already been made, more time is needed to ensure that Yemenis can start to rebuild and recover their lives. While civilian casualties have fallen during the period of the truce, injuries and death as a result of landmines are continuing to rise. A longer period of peace could give humanitarian mine actors the time needed to import critical demining equipment, train staff, and carry out clearance to help protect civilians, allow farmers to start using land again, and ensure that children can attend school without risking their lives. More than 7 years of conflict, 23 million people in Yemen are dependent on humanitarian assistance. This is why a longer truce would be the first step towards building the lasting peace that is critical to allow people to move beyond food contribution and build their self-reliance. While the truce might not be the perfect solution, yet it's a crucial step on the road to long and lasting peace. A reduction in fighting means that for the first time in more than 7 years, children could start the school year without fear of attacks, and people can live relatively a normal day. It's not a truce expansion, it's a hope expansion.
The Dutch ambassador to Yemen stressed that the parties to the conflict continue to commit violations against journalists. He outlined that these violations have negative repercussions on the freedom, independence, and professional press. The Dutch ambassador expressed his sadness at the horrific practices and violations that journalists are subjected to in Yemen, the latest of which was the killing of journalists Fawaz El-Wafi and Sabir El-Haidari. The government forces announced the death and injury of 251 civilians and military personnel following violations of the truce by the Houthi militia in Taiz Governorate. The government forces monitored 4,440 violations of the truce committed by the militia during 178 days. Houthi violations on various fronts in Taiz resulted in severe civilian casualties. The Omni Network for Rights and Freedom has documented about 21,000 cases of violations of childhood in Yemen by the Houthi militia during 4 years. The network outlined that the violations were varied between killing, injury, kidnapping, and recruitment.
The Yemeni Network for Rights and Freedoms has documented 21,000 cases of violations against children in Yemen by the terrorist Houthi militia over the course of 4 years. The network said in a report that during the period from June 1, 2018 to July 1, 2022, it recorded through its field team almost 21,000 incidents of violations against children in Yemen by the Houthi group, in addition to 43,600 cases of child displacement. The network explained that the violations committed by the Houthi group against children in Yemen varied between murder, injury, kidnapping, displacement, deprivation of education, sniping and recruitment, and preventing access to treatment, food, and water as a result of the siege imposed by the Houthi group in most Yemeni governorates. It also recorded 1,343 cases of extrajudicial killing, 1,620 cases of sporadic injuries to the body, and 321 cases of permanent disability for children in Yemen. The report documented 522 cases of arrest and abduction of children, most of whom were kidnapped in order to blackmail their families. As for the compulsory recruitment of children, the report indicated that the Houthi militia had recruited almost 12,500 children as young as 14 years old, noting the continuation of forced recruitment on tribes under duress. The network documented the deaths of 1,716 children who were fighting among Houthi ranks. They were later buried in funeral processions that were broadcast through the official media of the Houthi militia. The network also confirmed through its monitoring team and private sources, according to the records of hospital departments in various governorates and from the statements of the Houthi group's wounded care institution. The network called on the international community to bear legal and moral responsibility towards the grave violations to which children in Yemen are subjected, to put pressure on the Houthi militia, and to use all means, including the UNSC resolutions, to prevent it from continuing these crimes and violations and to oblige it to respect local laws and international conventions.
Coming next. The Graduates Club is a new repressive Houthi tool against university students. Welcome back. The Houthi rebels have initiated a new club for the graduates that is seen by many as a tool to repress and assault university students in Yemen. The following report has more details.
The Houthi militia continues to commit violations towards the people of Yemen. A new Houthi repression instrument to kill students' joy is the Alumni Club that puts restriction on the university graduates. Houthi militia has set new restrictions to limit graduation ceremonies for university students in its areas of control. The militia imposed fees for 20,000 riyals to be able to hold the graduation ceremony. Without it, the graduates cannot hold the ceremony. Not only that, yet they also banned musical groups, dance groups, rap songs, magic shows, and any entertainment segments. The club persisted in imposing restrictions on students, to the point of interfering in all students' affairs, even their clothes and nails. And the club threatens that any violations can lead to the cancellation of the ceremony. As per their official regulations, the club forces the graduates to prepare a supervisory report and a financial report for the batch after the end of the ceremony, including all activities from the beginning to the end. It is also required that the party planners, presenters, and photographers should be only booked through the club and submit a request to issue a permit to hold photo sessions and other coordinated reservations. The Houthi club insists that the party organizers must go to the club at least a week before the ceremony to complete the procedures and to stay in constant contact with the club to give them any updates. They also demand to cover the girls' pictures in the yearbook and prevented taking flowers during the ceremony, in addition to not wearing nail polish, makeup, or accessories. These restrictions were met with widespread objection on social media, as Yemeni people refuse the intervention with privacy of the university students, as it kills their joy with their graduation ceremony.
El Hadida Governorate inaugurated a new health center in the coastal district of El Hoja after it was restored by the International Organization for Migration. The center provides primary healthcare services, especially to displaced people in the area.
Today, we inaugurate Al Gasha Medical Center after it was closed for a long period because of the practices of the terrorist Houthi group. The center at this moment operates in full capacity with all the medical staff. We thank the IOM for its great efforts to operate medical centers in Al Hoja Directorate. We hope that the organization will operate in Hoja and Hais because both of them have a large population, especially displaced people. There is a large population in this area, whether they are hosting communities or displaced people. There are about 7,000 displaced persons in Al Gasha camp. There are also some other population gathering around the camp. The center provides an excellent service. We hope that the IOM will develop this center to be a full-fledged medical institution to provide the services for the people.
The United Nations reported the fuel imports through the ports of Hadida and Salif recorded an increase of more than 200%. The UN said fuel imports coming to the two ports, which are under the control of the Houthi militia, increased by 219% during the period from January to August 2022, compared to the same period last year. Here is a reminder of the main headlines. Ambassador Ahmed Ali addresses Yemenis on the occasion of the 60th anniversary of September Revolution. Hans Grunberg discusses in Sana'a truce expansion days before the UN agreed ceasefire is set to expire. New report documents Houthi violations committed against children in the past 4 years. This is the end of the news. It was Roshan Foe. Thank you for watching.